All right, here we are, right back in another Stormgate cast. I'm Algorithmore, and this is going to be a game from the ladder played out here on Broken Crown. And the two opponents we're going to see here already discussing their factions are WaroomNu in the Blue Infernal. And as he said in the chat, his opponent will be Uluwatu Wipeout in the Red Infernal. So this is going to be an Infernal versus Infernal. And we did see our Hexens cross over in the center of the map, but it looks like, at least for this game, there has not been any Hexen on Hexen violent. They're merely out today to scout. They did not want to harm their fellow Hexen. Instead, just coming to see, we got a conclave coming here out of Uluwatu. And it looks like the same thing up here from WaroomNu, so fairly similar build so far. Slightly different timing on those conclaves. Uluwatu with maybe a little more standard sort of, this looks like an earlier one. You kind of build it as soon as you can. But we see he's got an imp going out to take a shrine, and it looks like WaroomNu also has an imp here. Maybe waiting for some resources. Seems like he has the resources, yep. And that's because it looks like there is a slight change in the build order here. WaroomNu has opted to go vault before that shrine. And also interesting here, Uluwatu has made a little highway of Shroud. That is not always been what I've seen the meta to be at the higher levels, but with the new change to the effigies, this is really easy to put down early on. I personally like it because it allows any units, for instance, that are coming from this conclave will have extra time on the shroud to build up their white health as they walk to wherever you have them rally. That little extra bit of white health can help here and there. Might help them get up to full even. But we see Uluwatu opening here with creep in his health camp, and same thing for WaroomNu, but he's just a little behind there. Doing the two gaunts tanking trick there. I think that's a fairly advanced meta creeping style. A little cabbage break there for the Hexen. Before it looks like Uluwatu's going to take his speed camp now. He's added a couple extra gaunts to this force, and it looks like the same thing here. Oh, we got brutes coming along as well. So WaroomNu committing to more units right off the bat. And I think Uluwatu, yeah, his vault is not even quite finished yet, and has definitely had a slightly faster shrine. I'm not sure if that's really translated into an eco advantage just yet. And we do see the ritual chamber going down. Wonder if we see a similar tech choice up here for WaroomNu. Not quite yet. He's still out on the map, taking a nice pick up of the skull there so that it doesn't impact. And leaving a effigy. I like this strategy of Uluwatu putting his effigy down on the shroud left by WaroomNu, so that allows him to get a permanent effigy just for the same cost, which is of course always a nice boost. And these fiends over here trying to take that speed camp, well, it looks like WaroomNu is also going for his vision camp. So mostly we've had creeping, while there are some fiends out on the map for both players trying to stay in control of these speed camps. This looks like it is in Uluwatu's favor, just he has extra fiends, but he also has some white health on some of those. And it looks like a third base going down for WaroomNu, and we don't yet see the third base going down for Uluwatu. I'd say maybe that means he's going to do a little pressure, but I'm not sure his force is up to, it's not exactly an overwhelming force. In fact, WaroomNu is the one who has a little bit of a supply lead here. However, a tech deficit, as we do see Plague X is almost finishing up for Uluwatu, and Uluwatu might choose to do a timing. In fact, it looks like that's his plan. He's moving right up the ramp right as these Plague Axes are going to finish. And of course, there's not going to be any Plague Axes here for WaroomNu to defend with. And there we see Plague Axes finishing. And now we have Infest on all these units, which of course is going to mean Fiends popping out for any that die. And we see those first Fiends actually getting cleared up as WaroomNu's own forces arrive back. And despite not having Plague Axes, they do need to be respected here. And Uluwatu does retreat back. There was a lot of brutes in that force. We do see Plague Axes just starting now. So I wouldn't call that a failed strike because Uluwatu was able to pick off some of those units. We do see other units. This is not looking that great. This is probably a missed opportunity here. These units unfortunately walked in and didn't see that they were kind of surrounded. The Mag actually getting some nice damage before deciding, actually, I'm not losing here. I can move. But we see, oh, that's a defensive Nightfall infestation. Really good, actually. And this Mag does almost get away. The Gaunts are going to go down, it looks like. The Mag decides to turn and fight. What a good soul. Solidarity with these Gaunts. And then that one Gaunt turns to run. Meanwhile, Uluwatu has made it into the natural here and is trying to get some kills. A nice Nightfall infestation slowing all of his units. And he's going to try and retreat. And it is WaroomNu here in pursuit. Unfortunately being chased down, spending a couple seconds there to try and attack that effigy. I think that was probably a mistake. These units are going to get chased all the way here. The Hexen actually goes down as well. 2 Gaunts, are they going to escape? Possibly. They're heading to the speed camp where there are the slightest of reinforcements. And we do see another Mag and Gaunt combo here. This is an interesting harass force. Now, kind of want to get them out of there or at least get some kills. And we do see a couple of imps go down. But now these units are kind of overextended and need to get out of there. The Magmadon's trying to, and it's an interesting idea, but without Megs. Ooh, goes for the Nightfall infestation and turns to fight. Interesting choice because there's just so much here. And now we see some Fiends, some split brutes, and that Magmadon, yikes, gets taken out. And a couple Fiends come running in the other side. So a lot of constant pressure out of Uluwatu, but at the moment I don't think these trades have been really in his favor. Maybe the first instance where he got some damage done and was able to get out of there was the best strike so far. Whereas a few of these, let's call them Magmadon run-bys, have been maybe not the best. Now, that's a nice trample on these creeps. Wonder if that's something he's practiced or if you just get lucky. Sometimes with these Shadow Mastiffs, you can't really predict exactly what they're going to do. A couple Fiends here trying to probably do some scouting. Actually, it looks like they're going to try and take this tower first. And they're going to run into a couple Fiends of Uluwatu, who's going to clean them up. And WaroomNu now is also going to be going for his units, his speed camp here as well. Got that speedy upgrade. You can see from the animation, no longer with those lightning legs, which is a little sad for me. Now they got those little speedy dash lines as they speed around with that speed boost. Of course, now that only lasts 20 seconds, so it's run out here. Ooh, there's actually a little bit of a Fiend harass going on down here, and a couple of Magmadons are going to clean that up pretty easily. A couple Fiends run away, probably going to grab that speed camp. And it looks like it's a fairly mag-heavy composition here. This is almost an older style composition that we saw from earlier in the early access, which was largely dominated by Megs and Gaunts in this matchup. And interestingly enough, that's what WaroomNu has got going on as well. No Weavers for either side yet. And this might just be a change in the current meta, or maybe just how these players like to play. I really think this mirror match is the most developed mirror match with the most options for players to play, and that makes it probably the most interesting to watch. It doesn't have maybe as many micro opportunities as some of the other mirror matchups. Here we see Megs getting scooped up in this Harbinger. And is it just for dropping on the army, or is this going to become a harass force as well? We will see. But this army of WaroomNu has now come forward to try and take the speed camp. And Uluwatu is here with a lot of guns, but that is actually an incredible engage with those Magmadons and so many more. They need to split these guns, and unfortunately, those Megs finished off what the first Meg started and got so many kills on these guns. It is still just largely Megs here with a few Gaunts in the back. They're providing Infest to add some Fiends. And we do see some reinforcements coming in from Uluwatu. But that was a pretty good engage from WaroomNu to start that off. And it is Uluwatu in chase, trying to chase down these Fiends. And I really think he needs to push that attack. Although maybe he's choosing to go here to the third base instead. And that might be wise. He does have the supply lead, although that supply lead is quickly dwindling as WaroomNu is able to add units of his own, and it looks like it's largely Megs coming here. We see two of those Megs that were dropped from the Harbinger trying to block the Megs coming in to defend, but the Gaunts do have to retreat as that is a huge Magmadon force. Those Gaunts cannot go toe-to-toe to it without a front line. And these units, are they rallied here? This does not seem to be working out great. This... Not sure. Oh, that poor Magmadon going down for free. I don't like to see that. But perhaps we see Uluwatu's focus is over here with his drop. Some aggressive, like, Nightfall infestations in this game from both players I think is really good. Those Gaunts do retreat back to the healing tower, healing shrine. And this one Magmadon left behind, getting chased down by another Mag and a lone Fiend. Unfortunately, going to get picked off. But now we see some Weavers on the map, maybe a little too late. We get some good tramples again, those tramples with the Stomps. The Stomps even managing to stun the Weavers as well here. As of course you can walk right beneath those Weavers' legs to see a little bit more area of effect. And a double trample. These Magmadons are just on a rampage here. One turning back to fight with these Weavers here and gets taken out. While the other three here, okay, actually they have also turned around to take out the Weavers. There are a few Gaunts in tow. This has been a fairly chaotic game. It's a lot of Mags, lots of tramples, lots of Stompies here. And another nice Nightfall infestation. So many good Nightfall infestations this game. Defensively, offensively. In that case, that was to stop the Mags while they were chasing him down. Do manage to get a single Mag kill there as a result of that Nightfall. And a momentary reprise from the battle here. Although we do see a dragon on the map here. And that dragon is on the map at the 13.5-minute mark. That's about the time you can start seeing them. Earlier than that, I might call it a fast dragon. And we'll see if we'll get a dragon also out here for Uluwatu. It does not look like so far. And are we? We are still on Greater Shrine Tech. We do have a Twilight Spire. We did see the Harbinger earlier, so we could have upgraded. But that has not been carried out yet. But he is expanding. He's expanded here and to the double Therium, whereas it is WaroomNu who's expanding to this forward base. This can sometimes be seen as sort of an aggressive pattern for your expansion, where you can kind of push towards your opponent, and it allows you to set up base under this vision camp here. And we're going to see that indeed. We get an immediate cancel here. That Imp's trying to find his way home, but the Hellborn in the back splatters him onto the ground there. And well, this was a respawn camp, so WaroomNu has the opportunity to retake that. There are some fiends here checking. It looks like, I think there was a base that was put down there. So there may have been a cancel there as well. And those fiends easily taken out by some trampling Magmadons. And it's 4 Hellborns added here for WaroomNu. So this is definitely turning into that kind of late game composition. One thing I do like about this is just you still want to have some gaunts in there. Some people go a lot of gaunts even into the late game. I think in the late game you can just use the gaunts to get that infest. If you have the dragon, you almost don't need them. And then you use the rest of your units to try and kill those infested units and get that fiend snowball that you want. Looks like Uluwatu is going to be somewhat persistent here. Try and put this down again, but the dragon's flying above and can see it. Look at that DPS just from the dragon. Takes it out, and in fact there was no cancel this time. As it looks like maybe Uluwatu was occupied with his own camp. And this is what I'm talking about. Uluwatu has a lot more gaunts. This is a fairly standard play. But you don't necessarily need that many. I mean, they're pretty okay DPS, and because they're ranged, that means you can get a lot of them attacking at the same time. But we see here, WaroomNu's choice is to go more heavily into the Hellborn, and are they upgraded? Yes, they are. Do we actually have speed on these Magmadons as well? We do. So this is a fully upgraded Tier 3 army here from WaroomNu, and he's deciding this is the moment to push into this base. And we see how quickly these Hellborn do tear through buildings. They have bonus damage for the building, and in fact, the Magmadon's deciding, I'm just going to stay here with all my little fiend buddies and take this out. I think this is a good choice from WaroomNu to decide, I don't want to get flanked here by some kind of army. And here comes the army, and in fact it's going the other way around. Oh, huge molten touch with all those Hellborn lands. So many melted gaunts. So many gaunts just go down to that AoE. In fact, we didn't even see major tramples there. They did not push into those gaunts. It's the other way around. The Hellborn did just so much damage. Here we see the tramples now. And wow, that army just cleaned up very easily by this mixture of upgraded Tier 2 units, the Magmadons and the Hellborn, with, of course, that hero unit, the dragon, flying above and providing all these extra fiends. The Hellborn are just on the low ground, the dragon also looking above from them. Mags come up here, try and get on top of these. Oh, so many good stuns on these Gaunts again. But the Gaunts do turn to try and fight. They are going to do their best, but the dragon breathing down infests on top of them. They do get one more, but there's more tramples, more stuns. The Gaunts try to get on top of that dragon, but in fact, so many fiends coming out, and that is going to be the GG from Uluwatu, and what a GG it was.